So the name of this chapter was Slow Torture, and it's about the little nagging things that get to you. And it's amazing how a little thing can just grind on your nerves, can just grate. One of the classic examples is a rock in your shoe. So if you have this little teeny tiny rock and it's in your shoe and it's not actually hurting your foot, but it hurts and it's just there and it's annoying. Or sometimes seams of your clothes. So you have some clothing and it has a seam that's just in the wrong place. Maybe it's a little too tight on the arm. Maybe it's weird in the elbow. Maybe it's pinched oddly at the waist. Just someplace where and it rubs. It's just annoying. Or getting hot. And it's just like, you're hot. And it's like, okay, I'm hot. And then it's just more hot. And then more hot. And then more hot. It's just like sweaty. It's just like, ugh. And it's these little grinding down things that really get to us. Now, as I said in the previous chapter, here he was up on the horse, and he needed help to get up on the horse, and he needed help to get into the armor. And here he is going out, and he just realized, hey, wait a minute, I'm down off my horse now, and I have no way of getting back up. So maybe he's going to come up with the obvious solution, which is take off the armor, stow it behind. Though at this point, he's like, I am just going to ban armor altogether. So it's an interesting, there's this one, I've mentioned this series of books, I think, before, where it was the same principle where somebody from modern times gets sent back in time. The one I'm thinking of here is The Adventures of Conrad Stargard, who, anyway, he goes back to 1200s in Poland. But, so he has a big tech advantage over, Arthur's time. But one of the things that he does is he starts building an army to fend off the Mongols. And one of the things that he does for the army is he makes armor. And the problem is that you have armor back then, which was this intricate, jointed affair of sheets of metal, and they had to be sized for the right person and all of this other stuff. But he was like, no, this is stupid. So what he did was he came up with a version of the body armor that they used in World War II. Because in World War II, people were running around with body armor to protect them from getting, shot. And the way it worked was it was steel plates and a vest. So you'd have this vest and you'd have these steel plates that fit into pockets. And so what happened is that the plates were standardized and you'd have this vest on. And yeah, there was a chance that something would get into the creases between the plates, but you could deal with that by kind of layering the plates on top of each other. But what this did was it made something that gave almost as much protection, but was much easier to move around in, much easier to walk around. So he had this armor that was essentially these series of plates inside of pockets. And one of the big advantages of the series of plates inside of pockets is if one of the pieces gets bent or broken or whatever, you can just take it out, put in a new one. Or if it gets bent and, the whole thing, you can just cut the fabric and just pull out the plate and live without that plate for a while until you have time to repair it. But that was the whole, that was an attempt to make armor better. And here you have the hero of the story is like, you're just going to get rid of armor. But I have no idea of how he's planning to fight ogres or whatever, though that there's likely to be any actual ogres. But we'll see what happens with that. But here he is, stuck on the ground with just Sanda, or Sandy as he's calling her. So he's just giving these people names. It's like, no, you are now Sandy. So he has like no respect for them, but at the same time, here she is, she's jabbering and just blah 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 blah, and lying her head off. It's like, oh yeah, the castle moves. So she's not the most reliable of storytellers.